Hi, I'm Miles from Carp School and I'm going to show you how to tie a Zig Rig. It's the rig to use when the fish are just under the surface or spending time mid-water. So the Zig Rig, absolutely fantastic, has accounted for many BCAC wins and is really the only rig that we're able to present a bait mid-water where carp, let's face it, do spend a great period of their time. You can fish this rig as a single hook bait, or as is quite popular on commercial or heavily stocked waters, fishing these under a cloudy spod mix. So let me show you how to tie this Zig Rig. First of all, we need to tie a nice small neat loop in the end of some light mono, some probably 8 or 10 pound. If you're going to use the 10 pound version, then make sure that it's sort of fairly thin mono. The reason being is that we're going to use a pretty small bait, and although pop-ups are more and more buoyant these days, if you've got a long Zig Rig, 8, 9, 10 feet, maybe even longer, that pop-up needs to hold up quite a lot of weight of mono. It might not seem like it weighs a lot, but trust me, it can do, and it can drag that pop-up down. So make sure you use some nice thin 8 or 10 pound mono. Create a little loop in the end, make sure it's nice and tidy because we're going to use a small bait. In this case, we're going to use a little black pop-up, one of my favourite baits. You can use foam or all sorts of things, but here we've got a black pop-up, and I'm just going to slide that onto the loop, hold it in place with a hair stop, and trim it off. Okay, so bait in place. You need to know how long you're going to create your Zig Rig or how deep you want to be fishing. Here I've got 3 or 4 foot of mono, but you need to decide before you tie this how long you want it to be. We're then going to take a nice small piece of silicone and slide that onto the mono, like so. Slide that all the way down to the other end where your hook bait is. Fold that over your finger, like so, and hold it in place with this finger. Now take a nice small hook. I like these hooks because they have a straight eye as opposed to the in-turned eye. I think that works a lot better for Zig Rigs. It's got a nice straight point, catches hold very, very well. And we're just going to slide the point of the hook down into that silicone there. And we're going to bring it all the way around and sit on the shank just before the bend starts. Okay, like so. We're then going to pull that up until the boilie just about nearly touches the bend of the hook. Okay, now this is the difficult bit with Zig Rigs. You've got to find the other end of your hook link, which can be quite a long way away depending on how deep you're fishing, but once you've found it, push it down through the back of the eye going towards the point of the hook to create a knotless knot. Pull that down, remembering to go around the back of the hook when you make the turns of a knotless knot. We're going to do that once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just put that in between the thumb and forefinger to hold it out of the way and keep it tight. Make sure barrel rolls don't unravel. And then we're going to take the tag end of the hook link and we're going to push that down through the back of the eye, going down towards the point once again to complete the knotless knot, like so. Okay, so that is going to sit in the water like that. You don't want any more distance between the hook and the bait. Okay, now at the other end, we're going to add an anti-tangle sleeve. The reason being, these Zig Rigs are a little bit prone to tangling. So I'm going to take one of these anti-tangle sleeves, readily available on the market these days, and we're going to tie that onto a size 8 swivel. slide that on. Because we're tying it with some pretty thin mono, we're just going to go through the eye once, and I'm going to tie this on with a blood knot. So we're going to go wrap around once, twice, 3, 4, 5 times, and poke it back through that first loop that we tied, remembering to moisten, and pull this down nice and gently so we don't cause any friction, which can weaken the line. I'll pull that down nice and tight. Remember, a good snug tight knot is one that won't slip and therefore break at a later stage. And we're then going to take the anti-tangle sleeve and push that over the eye of the swivel, like so. So at one end we have the pop-up mounted on a really short hair using a piece of silicone to make sure that the hair leaves the hook shank in just the right place. The other end we've got an anti-tangle sleeve to help prevent tangles, which we've pushed onto the eye of a size 8 swivel. You can fish this on an inline lead. I prefer to fish it on a leg clip system using a nice small lead, only as big as you need to cast. I like this shape. It also helps to prevent tangles, and that's how I fish it. If you can reach there with an ounce, then just fish an ounce. If you need heavier to get to the distance, then do so. But that is the most effective rig for catching fish when they're up in the water. That's how you tie a Zig rig.